Okay, we're good to go.
Did we get the okay from Pete?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and call to order the October 9th, 2025 Plans Commission. And can I go ahead, get a roll call, Brandy?
Yes. Albee.
Here.
Dolly. Aletsky.
Present.
Spire.
Here.
Kays.
Here.
Kakacek.
Here.
And Tate, Culhane, and Dargis Johnson are absent. We have a quorum, and this is just the majority in the affirmative, so 4-3. 4
Four.
for a passing vote.
Four for a pass, yep. And this is all by voice vote. I'll go ahead to this time. Is there anybody at this time, if you have anything that you want for public comment, if you would provide that to the staff and we can address that at the back end of the agenda. Having said the agenda, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Haven't heard none. Voice vote to approve, all say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda passes. Minutes from the last meeting, can I get a motion to approve the last meeting minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Haven't heard none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay, one abstain. Minutes approved. Brandy, let's go ahead and move on to the regular agenda, item A.
Okay, thank you, Spire. So this is a rezone request for the property at 812 West Kemp. We have currently two parcels, the one that is zoned C3 Highway Commercial, and then the one to the west that is zoned R2A, Single Family Attached Residential. So there's a existing dwelling on the R2A lot. How it's shown to be reconfigured for the desire to have additional storage for the lot with the commercial business is still going to be conforming, the residential lot. So that will be 5,952 square feet. And in the R2A district, for a single-family dwelling, you can have 4,500 square feet. So it's still exceeding the minimum lot size. And then the C3 lot exceeds the 20,000 square foot minimum lot size requirement. And with this additional piece will be 32,107 square feet. We appreciate that it's being rezoned and that it's being brought into conformance because the desire is still there to utilize the house. And so the additional storage space for the business will be zoned correctly and replatted, and then the residential zoning designation will remain for the house. There is utility services, the gas. I gotta keep them all straight. The gas that services the house runs through this property that will be replatted if this rezoning is approved. So we will make sure that to encompass that within utility easements over any utilities that are existing there in case the properties are ever in separate ownership. Today, they're owned by the same person. So with that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Any questions from the planning commission staff?
Brandy, you said the utility easement would be captured. I don't see that on the plans today, but that would be captured as part of the plating process?
Yes. Yep. So we have the exhibit, and then when we get the replat will be, and we have that on there too, yes. We'll get that amended, because the replat can actually be administrative. So in working with utilities and reviewing it, that's where that came to light, which was after the agenda was posted. So we will get that taken care of before the plat is recorded.
Brandy, is there a screening requirement in C3 for storage areas?
Yes, when it abuts residential districts. And the applicant, I believe, does plan to fence this area in,
Thank you.
and actually has to. But I believe he planned on it anyway.
Is there anyone here on behalf of the application? Yes, come on up, identify yourself and your address, please.
Yes, my name is Doug Walsh. I'm with the Innovative Adjusters. I am the owner of the commercial property and the adjacent property that we're speaking of today, 812 West Kemp Avenue.
Sir, you got 3 minutes if you want to say anything on behalf of this, anything additional you'd like us to know?
Well, I've significantly cleaned up that particular area because it was pretty bad for 50 years with overgrown brush, trees, and we cleaned it up quite significantly. It just come to light with the times that we need that area for the commercial side of our business. So that's why I'm here requesting that you give us this variance to let us use this particular area and fence it in, meet all the requirements of the 6-foot fence and
So,
That
so,
would
now you cleared it out, is there gonna be any structures added to it, or is it just gonna be a
No.
vacant space?
just
Vacant space,
open.
So you're just
I
adding
mean,
it to
with-
the-
Other than the fence, there won't be
Gotcha.
any structures on it.
okay.
I just want to clarify too. So this is a rezone, not a variance request. You just, I just wanted to be clear on that, that
You're going over my head there, so I
you're,
don't.
you're bringing everything into conformance, so you're good.
Yes.
Okay, any other planning commission questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Is there anybody else here to speak on behalf of this request? Anyone to speak in opposition to it? No one online? Okay, we'll go ahead and, can I get a motion for this request?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Dolly, motion, second?
Second.
Okay, second. All right, amongst the planning commission, do we have any discussion further on this?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. Dudley, yeah.
Yep.
I'm supportive of the C3 zoning at this time. However, I will just go back to a comment that I've been making for 20-odd years. I think C3 zoning on this stretch of Kemp is an inappropriate zone. I don't know if we have an adequate C2 zone that would accommodate the uses. I do think it's something that we as a community should be looking at. If we're zoning things C3, that's a block and a half off of a highway, it's a highway commercial district. Maybe there's a need down the road for a substitute commercial district. I'm fine with the C3 and this request this time, but I think it's a bigger, and if I'm here for another year, it might be something I would like to see done, so.
I concur with that. I think in this case, I mean, it makes sense for this property and makes sense to replat it as one contiguous lots.
Amongst the planning commission, all those in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not opposed, okay, that passes. Go ahead and on to item B.
Okay, thank you, Spire. So this is an annexation and zoning request for what will be known as the Burger Third Edition. This property, this is 26.8 acres on the east side of town, just east of Titan Machinery along Highway 212. And it's honestly, I mean, pretty straightforward, other than I guess they are within the Sioux Rural Water territory, so Watertown Municipal Utilities will work with the property owner on getting that taken care of upon the resolution and plat being filed, if this is approved. And then they also will work within the electrical territories between Cottington Clark and Northwestern Electric Territory. So the applicant is aware of that, as well as WMU is prepared to assist through that process. There's also a trunk sewer assessment cost recovery that the applicant has been made aware of. And that is for the trunk sewer within Highway 212, because that is what, and that was put in previously, and the city has held the overhead. So then when properties develop that are adjacent, we recover those outstanding cost recoveries. And then that's where they will connect to sanitary sewer. There are 3 legal voters living on the property within the legal description today. As far as the city goes, once the property is annexed and zoned, we will plat it, and then we just will not issue, and that's that's verbiage in the resolution, the annexation resolution, that additional building permits will not be issued until the existing dwelling unit is removed. And that is because they are going to be zoning this C3 highway commercial. So the dwelling unit then is legal nonconforming. And looking at our regulations, we can plat because everything of the lot size meets the requirements of Title 24, but we would want to see the lot be brought into conformance before we would allow additional building permits. And that would even go for if they wanted to make modifications to the house. The only permit we will be issuing will be a demolition permit. And there is no timeline as far as the city goes. It's really just upon when they would like to start with development, that they would get the house removed. And with that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Okay, any commission questions for staff? Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Okay, about the house. So are they going to make that, they're like split out the house and have a different legal description, the whole thing, and then you're going to allow them to keep the house as long as they want to?
So-
And they won't be able to make any improvements, get a building permit or anything for any improvements to the house?
So that's correct. And as far as the fact that they are annexing and zoning it, I feel as if the house is not the use that they're looking to continue.
Okay, I'm just making sure that, you know, the applicant knows that you can't do anything to your house. You know, you can paint maybe, but.
Yeah, yeah, there's certain things, but no, I do, the fact that it's being annexed and zoned,
Is the house going to
It
be
will be
connected to city utilities also?
so it is, the house is, and so then they will go through the proper inspections of capping the water and sewer connections.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair. Brandy,
Not water, just sewer. I saw Bert's face, sorry.
Brandy, did we have any discussions at a staff level? I know it's our current policy has been, but any outreach to the county highway superintendent, because that is a county road, not taking the entire right-of-way, only to the middle of the road? I know we've been talking about that as we start looking, as the city starts to grow, and we start annexing property in, and we start taking other township and county right-of-way, and then we start sharing right-of-way, you know, and talking about maintenance agreements and all those things. Have we had any conversations with the county regarding that stretch, which, you know, it will be almost a quarter-mile long, of how are we moving forward on that? It's germane to this annexation, but it's also looking down the road too, is how we continue to work with township and county entities as we start taking pieces and parts of their roads.
Yes, and that's a great point where we can open that discussion up. It's just always practice that we take it to the center line, but when we do have a situation like this, you know, when we annexed in the Endress property here, we ended up taking the entire right-of-way, and that is just to clean things up, because the county isn't cleaning one side and the city is cleaning the other. That just doesn't make any sense. So we will continue that discussion then before it would go further. I mean, like, we can get that buttoned up before council would ever take action in the second reading. Because, you know, there's the first reading and the second reading where that gives us some time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Okay, Brandy, now across the street, there's 1114, 1122, and 1202. And then just south of there, there's more acreages that are single-family dwellings. Were they notified?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. And nobody said anything? Everybody was happy with it?
Yeah, the only discussion that I've had is just on the house.
Okay, thanks.
So
Brandon,
Brandon,
one additional question here. In terms of the rezone extending to the middle of the right-of-way, does that go all the way to 212 then with the access road that exists on the north side?
That's already right of way. But yes, the
rezone gonna
rezone
apply all the
will,
way.
yes, yep.
just make sure, Commissioner Dolly, I don't know if I was thinking the same thing or not. The little plot of land north of what we're looking at, that's going to be also annexed as well.
That's an H lot.
Yeah, that's highway.
So this, what I'm highlighting here, that will, the zoning will extend to that.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, any further questions from the commission? Okay, haven't heard none. Is there anybody here on behalf of the application? Yes, sir.
I can speak. David Straight, I'm the attorney for the current owners. This
Do you want to
property,
maybe, hold on, maybe restate your name just so that it's in the microphone for the record?
David Straight, I'm the attorney for the current owners. There is a contract for the sale of this property for a significant development. And that's why we're trying to pave the way to have that development take place. So once we get the property annexed, zoned, and the buyers are going to come in and take the house out. That's how this is going to work.
Any questions from the commission for the applicant or representative? Okay, thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Close, is there anyone here to speak further on behalf of this? Anyone speak in opposition? Okay. Haven't heard none. Can I go ahead and get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion amongst the commission? Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Haven't heard none, it passes. All right, moving on to C.
Okay. And then did you
No,
do
the
action
second
on
mo-
both the annexation and zoning?
Zoning, okay, I gotta separate those, yeah. So we do the annexation first.
My motion was for the annexation.
Yeah, sorry, okay.
Okay.
So let's just go ahead and, motion to annex the lot,
To zone.
the zone lot, excuse me, the zone lot. All those in favor?
Second, and your second on the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it passes.
Bye, Dave.
Okay. So this is an ordinance amendment that is cleaning up what we have discussed prior. And the planning commission had asked staff to look into the accessory structures after a variance was brought forward. And actually multiple variances where we're within the range of 200 square feet. So let me get that pulled up. So there, we added a clerical change. I just want to point that out as far as the RG and the RS district to make those consistent with other residential districts. Because we don't call out 25 feet, it's always 24 feet. And then for the residential storage, that is because when you get the attached garage in a residential district, you can go up to 35 feet. And then, otherwise, this is just changing that a residential lot can have two accessory structures. One can be over 200 square feet, and that all depends on your lot size and the percentage that's allowed. And then one can be under 200 square feet. And so what we're proposing is that just change to 240. And the thought with that is we would rather see people store things inside, and there has been, there are larger sheds that are prefabricated already. And so just the ability to have a little more flexibility there, and also be able to, really to just have things indoors and not be in that middle ground between 40 square feet. And we have just seen that size increase as far as the prefabricated structures, so. That is, then we are changing, sorry, I kind of forgot that this ordinance was on here, to be honest. For the accessory structures entering an alley. So the purpose there is that an alley functions, that's not the pedestrian way. So the front yard is where you have at a 25-foot front yard setback, mainly because you have a sidewalk in the front yard. And you don't want cars on the driveway encroaching over the sidewalk. Alleys do not have sidewalks, and that is really for vehicular movement. So the idea with this of allowing it if the garage door is opening parallel, that it allow the garage to be 4 feet off of the property line, and then if it is opening perpendicular, that it be 9 feet. And 9 feet is because then you still can get a car parked parallel off of the alley. And this is the typical use for alleys, and I don't know when it exactly changed of pushing it back 20 feet when it's in an alley. But that actually does, a lot of these areas are zoned R2A because alleys are an older trend. And the R2A is the reserved district of the older neighborhoods because the setbacks don't conform with today's standards. So this just really gives the ability for people that have these properties to be able to have add a garage and also still have a backyard without having it set back so far. And still not obstructing it's not creating any danger to pedestrians because the alley is used for the vehicular movements. And I believe that covers it. So I'll stand by for questions.
Brandy, can we pull up the section 4A that talks about that entering from the alley?
Yeah.
Because I think there may be a typo in the language here. I guess in your new text for the proposed language.
Okay, I'm gonna have. Okay. So, and I do have the track change on the agenda.
Yeah, I'm just reading the one that's included in the agenda, and it looks like in describing both the 4-foot and 9-foot, it specifies entered perpendicular for both of them.
Oh,
So one of them should be not.
yes.
Or parallel.
Parallel is the 4 feet.
Yep,
So I will get that changed.
okay.
And Mr. Chair? And Brandy, generally
Oh,
alley widths,
that's how it is today. Sorry.
generally alley widths are generally 12 feet wide. And now with 2 4-foot encroachments, we don't have any issues with snow removal and putting plows and stacking of snow in those alleys if we were to encroach closer than the 9 feet. I mean, Highway Super, the street department has no issues.
They actually just use like a truck blade,
Truck blade, okay,
so it's easier to
okay.
not have issues of pushing snow up against the structure. Yep.
Thank you.
Nope, we not yet. Okay, can we go ahead and get a motion?
I'll motion to approve with the, subject to the changes that I mentioned.
Okay, and can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion or comments, Commission, okay? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard. It passes.
Thank you, staff.
We're not done. There's a second page to the agenda here, so.
Okay, thank you, Spire. So this one, the residential storage district was created earlier this year when we brought forward a large ordinance amendment to Title 21. So the attention to detail, I can say, was not there, or thinking about really the applicability. A lot of it was copied from the RG Residential Garage District. So then actually having time to kind of look through and with a fine-tooth comb and think about the applicability of having this zoning district. If we have it, we want it to be usable. And the idea behind creating a district as this, as such, is because right now, storage units are only allowed in commercial districts or R3, which is multifamily residential. And it's also known that storage units are good to have within close proximity of neighborhoods. And it also has been stated that storage units are better neighbors than apartments. So I like that one. So the thought is when you have somebody coming forward to do storage units, they have to zone it R3. And then there is the fear of what it could be, when truly it is just for storage. But then storage units are also usually made, or the exterior is usually metal material, not residential siding, and how they're constructed is conducive for the metal, like the metal sheeting. So the language that came out of the RG Residential Garage District, that requires it to be residentially sided, which that does make sense because that is within residential districts that like intermingled with it. So, and you know that it is just a singular garage where these are actual storage units. So just some thoughts there of why the following proposals are being made, but still wanting to also protect the adjacent residential districts by requiring screening or fencing to really separate the use, just because storage units, you could have traffic lights, later hours or whatnot. So that is just to really diffuse any issues that it would have on adjacent residential neighbors. The other thing is that this will have to, this zoning district has not been applied anywhere. It's new. So that would require a rezone. So the neighbors would be notified and there would be public hearing opportunities. So with that, I will stand by for any questions.
Commissioner Kate?
Two quick questions. Storage shop, storage unit, storage facility indoor. Does that mean shipping containers?
No.
Other quick question is, what if I was to use 10-foot sidewalls? What is my minimum side yard setback?
Then you would be 9.5 feet?
Yours just says here, is there another section which establishes a setback for less than 12-foot sidewalls?
Oh, then you would follow the chart, which I
Okay.
believe is 9 feet.
9 feet, okay. I was,
But you know what? Let me take that back when you say about shipping containers. I think that we should add that to say that shipping containers are not allowed.
are prohibited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we don't have anything in ordinance like that yet.
I would encourage that, just from the perspective that it's still a little bit ambiguous and nebulous
Yeah.
out there.
Yep, no, that's a great point.
Any other questions from the commission for staff?
I do. Randy, item F on here, can you talk about what that means and why that's part of the proposal?
So in residential districts, you can only have one principal permitted structure. So the thought here is that if they have, say, 2 storage unit buildings, that is allowed. Because otherwise, this ordinance does state that you can only have one primary structure.
Okay, so same use, but they're splitting it up into multiple buildings on the
Yes.
same lot?
Yep.
On the screening, do we need to be any more specific on the density or the type and size of the screening?
I did consider that, and that's, I mean, unless we want to say if you're, I mean, with vegetation and the fencing, I mean, maybe we say 6 foot?
Because we do in some of the other districts,
We
don't
do, and I just remember when we built my building up north, I was either to build a fence or have, a vegetation, but it was at the whim of the adjoining landowner of what I was to put up, because I was infringing on their already established development, so.
But you also had a conditional use.
Pardon me?
But that was a conditional use.
Yes, it was a conditional use, but then again, this is something where we're talking about abutting established residentially zoned property that more than likely is already established prior to the development of this zone. And I agree that, I'm sure we're gonna use shoebox lighting and that sort of a thing.
Yep.
To keep the lighting down. Is that a standard that we need to put in here?
No.
Okay.
So I think what we could do is, because I agree vegetation isn't really fair because it takes so long to grow. So I think that, but I also don't like to give the neighbors because you also might have multiple neighbors and trying to coordinate that. Because I do think that the property owner should have the right to decide what they want for their property, as long as we have it consistent in ordinance and planning commission and city council has approved that.
I think, Mr. Chair, my preference is that if we could do living vegetation, always is, to me, better than hard fencing, if it works. I understand sometimes fencing is better if it's loud and people are there at different hours of the night, and the neighbors would maybe like fencing, but if you did berms with trees or shrubbery and those types of things, you can still get the same effect. And so I don't want to walk away from, greener sort of screening.
Maybe we just put a 6-foot barrier, and then that can be fencing, vegetation, berm. I can add berm to this list, but just say that.
And then leave it to you to work it out, and then we'll find out down the road.
Yeah.
Whether or not what the public's gonna want after we do 1 or 2 of these things.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was more wondering, in terms of the vegetation, if we have to say, the amount of density, 20 feet apart versus 9 feet apart, or,
I think if it's vegetation, it needs to create a fence effect,
yeah.
Yep. And whatever they're choosing, what the spacing needs to be.
So the way I read it right now is there's no limitation on the size of the storage unit. It's just in proportion to the size of the lot available, correct?
And no more than 80%.
No more
Of
than,
lot
80%. Right. So you could have a very large shop in a residential area adjacent to a residential area based on a lot size.
Is there a minimum amount of area that if I want to rezone something to this, is that
10,000.
10,000?
And so, and then there's no prohibition on, having this spot zoned in the middle of all R1. It's the way it's written right now.
I mean, we can increase the size.
I think, to me, a 10,000 is what,
Yeah.
75 by 150s or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just
Yeah, that's
I'm just saying
true.
right now, there's nothing in the language that, and then as far as materials go, it could be all steel, it could be steel siding, steel roof, look very much like a shop adjacent to or in the middle of a residential area, the way it's written right now. Correct.
Let's do the acre limitation, like we do for RG.
And is this the intent to be private, or is it commercial?
Commercial.
All commercial?
If it's a storage shop, that is private storage, so then that is not
That
commercial.
doesn't fall, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, good. Did you have a question? Alice? Okay.
Mr. Vice? So Brandy, would they have the ability to build, let's say, like an office on the front of the storage unit facility that they'd put in there?
No,
No? Okay.
unless like it was, ancillary to the storage facility, like somebody running it, but not like to rent it out for a different business.
Yeah, kind of my thought for running the storage units, but then what limitations do you have on that? Because you could build a pretty big office with some small storage there and run a different LLC out of it, or,
Yeah, we would look at that when they would apply for the building permit, but yeah, if they were doing an office, that would only be able to be like ancillary to the storage units. And yeah, if something happened down the road, there's only so much zoning can regulate. So, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chair, okay, well, are they going to will they be allowed to have running water and sewer?
Storage shops can, storage units do not. We would kind of,
This?
yeah, we have the different definitions of them. So basically, the storage shop can, let me go to it here. Maybe. I just want to see the uses.
Because if they don't have like a sewer, then you don't have garbage pickup.
Yes, but they also have to have a commercial hauler. So, storage units are not required to have water and sewer. Storage shops are. And then storage shops are for personal storage, storage shops are commercial.
Brandy, if these are looking at just being residential storage, then is it basically an as-reported situation for enforcement of these not being used as more commercial shops? Because if I'm understanding, this is for your boat, for your extra things that don't fit in your house, but I know a lot of shops have turned into places where people gather or people run their business out of them. So I'm guessing that actually them not having water or sewer would probably be beneficial to preserving that use of residential storage because you're not spending time there.
Yes, you're spot on. And so it's, storage units can not have without water or sewer. So, but yes, then it would just be the, by complaint basis. And you would imagine if it's adjacent, and you see enough storage facilities adjacent to residential districts today. And so, but it would just be the complaint basis. And probably more people holding them accountable when they're in their backyard or, nearby.
Mr. Chair, so let's say Doug Mogg wanted to do what he did along, west
Old
of
railroad track.
19th Street, and I say it was vacant today. This would be something that he could do in that situation. He could rezone that to whatever we're calling this, and then he could build those units. That's the type of thing we're talking about.
Yep.
Because he wanted to do a garage at one time, I remember that, and we said off of 13th, and he wanted to build a garage off of 13th or something on the end of one of those to run it, and I think we turned him down because it was going to be more than just storage.
Thank you.
So this ordinance doesn't require any primary structure. It could just be a sole storage unit on a lot if it's RS zoned. So unlike
Yeah.
today, that's, yeah, that is a primary, okay. All right.
And I apologize if it was answered earlier when I wasn't when I was thinking about something else apparently. But is there a maximum size per bay within those lots? Because that will also kind of speak to the uses a bit, whether, is it going to be, do you have a maximum size per bay, a minimum size per bay, anything like that to kind of preserve the intended use?
I don't have anything in there like that. But in other districts, we do say that it cannot exceed 600 square feet.
Mr. Chair. But if we're gonna allow for a 16-foot sidewall, then we're basically allowing for somebody that wants to put a fifth wheel or drive, so you're gonna need more than 600 square feet to make that work. So, again, I think this is a better step than what we've got. I think you test run it, and if it runs into the ditch, we bring it back out and you change it.
Right. And that it is an ordinance today.
It's better than what we got. I agree, and I think as long as we address the storage, shipping containers, that was my biggest heartburn. And as long as you decide what staff thinks, what come up with whatever that landscaping standard is between now and then, I think you understand where we're at.
Yep. So I think just in your motion to just include,
Prohibition of shipping containers.
prohibit shipping containers, add language as discussed for the landscape or the screening requirements, and add the minimum acreage requirement.
So I was going to save this for discussion after the motion, but here's my concern, is you could have on Broadway and 7th, a home that's up for auction, buy the lot, demo the home, knock it down for 10 grand, and put up a soul shop square in the middle of Old Town. It takes up that whole lot and park your RV. It doesn't conform to the neighborhood aesthetically, and right now it's prohibited. You can't do it. So that would be something this would allow without any variances, without any conditions to go forward and do. So,
You get an acre, you'd have to buy 4 lots.
Yep.
Oh, the original, yeah, that's right.
You'd have to buy 4 lots.
And you would still have to do the rezone, right?
Yep, and the neighborhood would still have the opportunity to object
object, okay.
and/or refer the decision to a public vote.
I like that.
Are you ready for a motion? Mr.
Yeah, I'm
Chairman?
ready for
Did we
motion.
have the public hearing open?
Is there anybody here to speak on
Probably nobody
behalf or-
online.
I'm sorry, everybody online, thank you, Blake, yeah. Okay, haven't heard none. Go ahead and close the public hearing. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval to the city council to adopt the proposed changes as described with the amendment of the prohibition of shipping containers in this zoning district, a minimum of 1 acre for the minimum lot size, the direction of staff to come up with screening standards that we will leave with the city council to determine. And was there one more? Shipping containers, screening,
Screening.
acreage.
I'd say
no That's it? spot I think that was
It's
it.
gonna take care of itself.
Yeah.
That was it.
All right, can I get a second?
And I'll second.
All right, got a motion second. All those in favor?
Discussion on the motion.
Discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Do we have any open comment period? Did anyone come forward for any open comment issues?
No.
Okay. All right, any new business from today's meeting or anything anyone wants to bring forward?
I believe on new business, we have the review of the South Dakota Open Meeting Laws brochure, which Alan Stager, our city manager, will provide you some information on this item.
Thank you, Brandy. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'm filling in today for Lisa Carrico, our city attorney, who is not able to be with us. In the legislative session last year, a measure was passed requiring each body that is subject to the open meeting laws in the state to go through a training session once per year. Today's intent is to provide that training. Attached to your agenda is a brochure that has been published by the Attorney General's Office in partnership with the South Dakota Media Association that goes into quite a bit of detail on the open meeting laws in the state. Okay. Essentially, the open meeting laws require that all business that a body such as a planning commission or board of adjustment conducts will be done in the open. We have requirements under statute to provide an advanced agenda and notice. We have a 24-hour requirement which our staff has been meeting. Just point out that non-compliance has penalties in statute, including the possibility that an action that you could take could be nullified based upon not following the open meeting laws. So as stated, it applies to all boards, including this commission. Also comment on, it applies to electronic and telephonic gatherings at any time that a quorum is involved, and caution you that a quorum could also be a quorum of commissioners communicating by email. And so you'll see that we do as a staff oftentimes, if we are merely disseminating information, we will produce that information with you on blind copy so that you can't inadvertently start a discussion with your fellow commissioners and then create a quorum of the commission. We do have the ability, if the communication is merely to establish a time for a meeting, you could have some back and forth dialogue and discussion via email without creating a quorum of business. However, we caution you not to do that because you could inadvertently start to slip in discussion and then have a meeting that was not noticed.
Does
But-
that include texting too?
We haven't specifically addressed texting. We would advise against it. As previously stated, that your commission does have a 24-hour notice requirement that staff has been meeting on your behalf. And we do post notices physically on the council chambers as well as distributing the notices to the media and also electronically to those who've signed up. Couple of other points. As you have done and as your bylaws now state, you do take public comments at meetings and provide a reasonable time limit for the public to comment. That is required. Members of the public may record both audio and video recordings of the proceedings, as long as they do it without disruption and they do it in the open. I'll talk about executive sessions just briefly. I don't know that this body has ever had the need to go into an executive session. The brochure does establish the reasons that you could go into executive session, and the one that I could see as a possibility for this particular body would be a matter of public safety or security concerns with a potential matter before your body. If there is ever a situation where an executive session may be required, we would have plenty of advance notice to be able to work with our city attorney and staff to establish the criteria to do so. And if you were to have an executive session, any action you would take would have to be done in the open following the executive session. Finally, just call your attention again to the brochure that you have, and this does meet the requirements of our annual review with this body. Be happy to try to take any questions you might have.
You have to give this to all the other boards and commissions?
Actually, our city attorney has, so this is my one commission that I get to do. So she has helped us out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I believe that's the end of the new business. Do we have any old business? Any old business? I don't believe we do.
Nope.
I don't have any need, do we have any need for an executive session?
Nope.
No, I don't believe so, so I'll go ahead and call the meeting to adjourn. All right.
Thank you, guys.